coming up in Gary, Indiana, 95% African-American community, and I was a white boy, as they all say, kicking the living hell out of every African-American's ass all around Northwest Indiana. I got called all kinds of names, but there was a level of respect that I was one of the only white boys that could walk into a gym at any place and immediately get into the game. In fact, I may have been the only one, me and Pete Turgovich, who was a little bit older. But I got to tell you, no, I didn't put my mic on because this is the first time I've ever done this show. But I got to tell you, I've had enough. I've had enough of the racist at my Serbian brother, Nikola Jokic. I mean, look. Some guy, Bill Rhoden. Now, I like Bill Rhoden. I actually used to like listening to Bill Rhoden. He was an interesting guy when he was on the reporters on ESPN. He was kind of interesting, but now he's doing what everybody else in the NBA / African American / white media / all media is doing. He's trying to become the next Cap. Everybody's trying to become the next Cap. I'm tired of racism. I'm tired of ESPN spewing racist garbage or allowing racist garbage about my man Nikola Jokic and any other white dude. Look, hey, you don't like white guys playing basketball? What do you want me to tell you? My issue, according to Rhoden, is not the proclamations of Jokic's greatness, but with the premature coronation of Jokic as the greatest ever. The best center an NBA has ever seen of all time encompasses a lot of stuff. Well, no one's ever said that. No one said this dude is the best. And Rhoden doesn't cite any in an article in whatever the racist thing is that ESPN has called the Anscape. Nobody I have seen and I have paid attention has said anything about Jokic being the greatest of all time. So he fabricated this. He's just lying about it. Black writers and black players can't stand the fact that a white guy is dominating the league. I don't understand why they don't like it. I have no idea why they don't like it, but they don't. Kendrick Perkins, the former player turned analyst, here's Rhoden, committed the unpardonable sin of suggesting that racists played in a role of Jokic being pushed for a third consecutive MVP. He called it great white hopeism. Now, aren't we past that? Maybe not. I don't know. Perkins' assessment was not entirely wrong. And the intense pushback he received was evidence that Perkins pricked a familiar nerve of race and racism. If you are truly, and I do this every day, if you are truly judging people by the content of their character and not the color of their skin, you will understand that Perkins is ridiculous. 80% of the voters are not white. 55% of the voters are white, which, ladies and gentlemen, is actually less than the population of the United States. You're not talking, William Rhoden, about Perkins having lied, which he did. Now, look, they even had to on ESPN say when Kendrick Perkins, they had it correct, said 80% of the NBA voters for the MVP award were white. The MVP publicly announces the voters each year, and after review, it is clear the panel is much more diverse than what was portrayed by Kendrick Perkins. You know, white population is 75%. Voters are 55% in the NBA, period. You know, Rhoden and others are saying, well, the media, which is mostly white people, is spinning the narrative over inflating Jokic. Really? All I do is look at every NBA pregame show, and it's all black. All of it. Hell, they got women up there that couldn't think about playing in the NBA over Tim Legler, who was a 10-year player, who's the best NBA analyst there is. They got I don't know what the hell her name is. And then they got the other girl who was a second-team All-Big East women's player over Tim Legler. The whole narrative is spun by African Americans, and I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. Then they're mad because, the proliferation. So many white guys have become, MVP. And it raises Bill Rhoden's antenna that so many white guys have become MVP. Like we give a shit about Bill Rhoden's antenna. 73-year-old guy trying to be relevant in his late stages, which I love. Bill Rhoden's antenna. I love when African Americans say, well, that raises my antenna. Yeah, well, good. I love when white dudes say the same thing. That raises my antenna. Yeah, great. Good. Raise your antenna, dumbass. Only 5 of the last 34 MVP voters MVPs have been white. Man, my antenna is raised. You should have none. There should be no white coaches. There should be no white analysts. There should be none. I mean, it's only 75% of the population, but it should be none. Man, oh man. The NBA writers that are white are scared to death. The NBA writers cower in the corner. Man, I don't want to say anything because I got to go in the media room and a black guy might get mad at me. I judge people by the content of their character. I don't give a damn if you're black, white, green, or purple, but I don't understand how Stephen A. Smith can get away with calling Jokic a tub of lard, or Mark Jones, who is an African-American writer or analyst, I guess. He's more of a suburban guy, white dude, married to a white woman. But, hey, he's African-American, and he's trying real hard. He just rips Jokic in every case. All Jokic does is go out there and ball. And the most important people for Jokic are his teammates. Not the African-American teammates, not the white teammates, his teammates. Those are the most important. And, we all need to get on the same team. I know it offends all the African-American NBA folks that a white dude is the best player in the league, but get over it. Stop being racist. Grow up. John Morant's people, John Morant's crew. Remember when Billis said that idiotic, well, if you say his camp, you're racist. Billis was trying real hard. Jalen Johnson, his camp, if you say that, there's an inherent racial I got a camp. I got a crew. You kidding me? John Morant's camp feels like the NBA and the media are out to get him. Let me ask you a question. Why would the NBA and the media be out to get him? Walk me through one good reason. The NBA wakes up and says, you know what? We got this young superstar in a city that nobody cares about. He's elevated a city that absolutely nobody cares about to packed houses. We can now put another team on our television. It used to be only LeBron. We got to put LeBron on. Maybe the Celtics, occasionally the Knicks, LA, but now we can put the Memphis freaking Grizzlies on and people will watch because of this guy. But the NBA is going to be out to get him. See, stupid people. This guy hangs out with stupid people. I'll tell you a story. Greg Doyle. I always talk about Greg Doyle. Don't hang out with stupid or bad people. So Greg Doyle moves to Indy. He's going to live at my house. He's a writer for the Star. Then I find out what Greg Doyle is doing with women. I got an 18, 17-year-old daughter. There's no way in hell I'm bringing Greg Doyle into my house. There's no way in hell I'm hanging out with Greg Doyle. So I'm like, hey, great. And I decide I'll be friends, but at a distance. Well, that's what you do. You don't hang out with snakes. You don't hang out with stupid people. You don't. Because they always come back to bite you. So now John Morant, who hangs out with stupid people, now John Morant's camp feels like the NBA is getting on him. Don't hang out with stupid people. I mean, if you're a stupid person, then hang out with stupid people because that's your jam. But don't do it. Don't do it at all. Zero, zip, nada. Don't do it. All people want is accountability and action from you. I have heard directly that John is people close to John, perhaps people formerly close to John, this feeling that the NBA is out to get him. The media is out to get him. Why would the media be out to get him? Media is so scared of a young African-American hip kid. I mean, you got guys like Mark Spears who are winning awards. Why are they winning awards? Because they kiss the ass of young African-American kids. The NBA media wants so badly to be a part of the scene. They want the bottle service. They want to be able to say, hey, Ja called me the other night, and we went to the strip club. Don't tell anybody. They want to be on the sex tape with Zion. Are you kidding me? The NBA is the most fraudulent media in America, the most kiss-ass media in America, this side of the Indy Star and the Colts media. Nobody's softer, nobody's more ridiculous than the Colts media. But I digress. So John Morant's people are that stupid. John Morant, I don't care what happens to you. You've shown who you are. But for your own damn sake, get rid of your camp and tell your camp to shut the living hell up and tell your agent to shut the living hell up. Best thing John Morant can do is go away. Go work on your game. I don't care if you work on your person. I don't give a rat's ass. Same thing with Huggins. I don't care if you work on. That's for you. What do I care? I don't give a damn about John Morant unless he's on the basketball court. Go do your thing. John Morant don't give a damn about me, and that's the way it should be. I don't care. Best thing, though, stay out of here because you're not going to win. Even dudes like Damian are crushing you. Used to be just dudes like Jack or Dan. Now you got everybody. When you get the Jalen's and Kareem crushing you, then you got a real problem. I just spilled. Ja Morant's camp. Can you imagine that camp? Can you imagine Ja Morant and his idiots sitting around? Yo, man. Can you imagine the stupidity in this camp if they think the NBA is out to get them? Can you imagine? Imagine it. Imagine the stupidity of this group. If they think that the NBA is out to get their brightest young star, the NBA partners with China. They don't care. They don't care even a little bit. So these idiots must sit around and just be idiots, figuring out ways to be bigger idiots. If I'm the NBA, I need Ja Morant. I want Ja Morant. LeBron's 110 years old. Steph Curry's teams are no good. Well, they're good, but they're not good enough anymore. I need Ja Morant. And these idiots, his camp, his crew, his posse, his fellas, his boys, his friends, whatever you want to call them, need to just shut up. Have your agent shut up and just work on your game and yourself if you need it. And put away the guns. Put away the guns. Put away the guns. If you want a job at ESPN, here's what you do. You do what Bill Plaschke has done. Bill Plaschke is just another guy. Bill Plaschke is a shill. Bill Plaschke is a guy that you see on one of those shows. I don't even know the name of it. But Bill Plaschke is also a writer for the New York Times. And somehow, some way, Bill Plaschke decides that he's going to support the Christians of horseshit. I mean, I want you to think about that just for a second. I'm going to wake up. I'm going to wake up as a writer for the Los Angeles Times or whatever it's called, LA Times, and I'm going to pick today to throw my support behind a group that makes fun of Christians, that denigrates Christ, that denigrates the cross, that makes fun of Jesus. That's what I'm going to do. That's where my day is headed. My day is headed. I don't know. I'm just going to do that. Hey, I woke up today and I decided, the fight I'm going to have is in defense of a group that makes fun of Christians. That's what I'm going to do. Why does Bill Plaschke do that? Because Bill Plaschke wants to keep his job. Bill Plaschke is an old white dude. Old white dudes don't survive at ESPN. A few do because, they got to have a couple to actually spew some common sense because of experience. Plaschke's not one of those guys. Plaschke is a guy that is has no value. Nobody turns on the TV and says, I want to see what Bill Plaschke is doing. So Bill Plaschke ate up the Sisters of Perpetual whatever the hell. He says in the 80s, the sisters were a forefront of the AIDS pandemic, providing comfort and care for countless dying men, many of whom were not touched. Today, their mission is morphed into organizing and assisting in charitable events while spreading the message of inclusion hope. Really? Really? The Los Angeles group was founded in 1995, the group that they celebrated. All the AIDS stuff was in the 80s. That's their Instagram page, 1995. The group didn't even exist in the 80s. It didn't even exist. And this is a writer. The group rarely updates social media to mention what they're doing for the community, besides making fun of Catholicism and openly wishing for its downfall. That's what this group is about. But Bill Plaschke, old white guy, who literally nobody. When I did basketball games on ESPN, people used to tune in just to see me. Not one person has ever, other than maybe his mother, son, daughter, or whatever, have ever turned in to see Bill Plaschke. So Plaschke is praising this group for doing great things for AIDS in the 80s. This group, the one that they celebrated in LA, the LA group, wasn't around in the 80s. You see what I'm saying here? It wasn't around. And Plaschke bent over backwards to support a group that literally only social media posts are about its dislike for Catholicism, Christianity, and its demise. But Bill Plaschke decides, this is a good thing. Or what do you kids call it? This is a hill I want to die on. Oh, okay. Yay, rock. Go fight, win. How stupid. How stupid. Rotten hell, Bill Plaschke. Seriously, rotten hell. I mean, look, I don't judge people. I talk about them. I got half of West Virginia mad at me. But hey, West Virginia folks, you're all right. You'll be okay. It'll all work out for you. You'll hire Dave Bliss. You'll hire a guy that, murdered his mother And you'll all be fine because that is what you do. Coming up at 9:20, I'm not going to lie to you. I say this all the time. Peyton McNabb got hit in the face in a high school volleyball game and got concussed because some monster transgender dude was allowed to play. She has been awesome. You know how I feel about smart women. She's a high school student that's smarter than any, and I got to tell you, she went at the press secretary of the United States, and it was glorious. I mean, glorious how she went at whatever that lesbian's name is. She wants to be known as a historical figure. She says because who she has sex with, she's a historical figure, so let's do it. She doesn't have a name. She's just that lesbian. I mean, if you're going to be a historical figure for having sex with your own gender, then let's call it out. So don't get mad at me. But, man, Peyton McNabb went right at her, said, I'm not surprised what this administration is about. I can't wait, and Hookstead's coming up. And I got to tell you, if you don't like Hookstead, I got nothing for you. I love me some Hookstead. But let me go back to ESPN for just a second. See, ESPN has a chance right now. I know those guys. I know Norby Williamson. I know some of the higher-ups. This is not the ESPN they want. You know what bosses at ESPN want? They want to show you sports. They want sports debate. They want to literally, the older guys, they want to serve the sports viewer. That's their motto, anytime, anywhere. And Norby Williamson and the men of ESPN and the women of ESPN that are older, that's what they want to do, but they've lost their way. They're so woke, they can't stand it. They're so woke. And you know what? The guys that are the higher-ups, they can't stand it. And it's not just the white dudes that are higher up. It's everybody that's higher up, but they got to go along with it because they've been hijacked. So now we're seeing layoffs. And by the way, can anybody tell me why was Neil Everett the only guy we've seen being laid off? Or was he? Did he get fired? I don't know. Middle-aged white dude, probably fired. But let me ask you this question. Let me ask you a simple question. Why does ESPN do this? Why do they allow such racism? If it went the other way, you know the answer to that. Look, I judge people by the content of the character, not the color of their skin. But I'll never understand it, I swear to God. I will never understand why ESPN has allowed this crap. I will ask the YouTube chat to help me with this. Why do they allow it? Why do not only they allow it, but why do they openly promote it? Why can Stephen A. Smith call Jokic a fat tub of goo and not apologize? Hell, Seth Greenberg and I had to apologize, it seemed like, for saying that this debate is no good. But we're older white guys. Yeah, it's unbelievable. Nah, it's really incredible. But that's the way the world works, and I don't understand it, and I'm asking for your help. I'm asking for your help to explain to me. Does this stuff sell? Like ESPN's going to tell you that its shows are highly rated. I'm talking about them on the greatest morning show in America. You tell me. I don't know. So let's review. ESPN is mad because a white guy is the best player in the world. Every black ESPN analyst, none of whom could play, well, that's not true. That's a lie. Jalen Rose could play. I guess Kendrick Perkins could play. I'm not talking about those guys. I'm talking about the writers. Stephen A. Smith, Bill Rhoden. It just makes them nuts. And I don't understand it. I don't understand it. Hey, baby, live and let live. Why are we all mad? Why are we all upset? We shouldn't be upset. Anyway, I digress. ESPN is the opposite of normal. Dan, is your suit woke? No, but my suit is sexy as hazel. Apparently, the YouTube chat says, look, ESPN got to stay woke, but I don't understand. I don't understand this. Why? Why? Somebody tell me why, and I, too, shall listen. I will. We got a lot to get to today. Are you kidding me? I can't wait. All right, Nick Saban is questioning the commitment. Oh, really? He's questioning the commitment of some of the athletes because of the NIL and because of the transfer portal. Really? You think? You think paying college kids is going to make them work harder? Maybe. Yeah, look, the great ones will. Look, I've always said this about high school, college athletes. The great ones are going to bust it. And kids work harder today than I ever worked. They have to. There's more structure. Do you really get the best teams? When they told me we would be favored against 3 to 4 teams in the playoffs, I'm like, why aren't we in the playoffs? Well, Nick Saban doesn't like the playoff system. Nick Saban doesn't like the NIL system. Nick Saban doesn't like the transfer portal. All right. Nick, what do you like? You know what Nick likes? Nick likes the paycheck. Nick likes holding up the trophy. Nick likes the being Nick Saban. Bob Knight, a lot of people say, well, why didn't Bob Knight quit? Bob Knight quit at Indiana about 10 years before he was actually fired. Why? He liked being Bob Knight. I mean, it's that simple. When you like being who you are, then it's hard to give that up. If Nick Saban quit tomorrow, you know who the media would be talking about? The new head coach at Alabama. So Nick Saban doesn't like the NIL. He says it's killing sports. Nick Saban doesn't like the transfer portal, says it's making kids unmotivated. And Nick Saban is now planting the seed so his team can lose 5 games and get in the the college football playoff Final Four. Good for you, Nick Saban. Great. How about this? Play better. I mean, maybe Vegas should set it up, maybe, and maybe you would have been favored, but you would not have beaten Ohio State that night. So sit down, shut up, and get ready and play better. That's about all I can tell you. You're the greatest football coach other than Urban Meyer of your generation. No, you're the greatest football coach. Urban is second. But I got to tell you, sit down, shut up, make your team better. But hey, thankfully Nick Saban started talking because, well, I can have something to talk about. I don't know if you know who Peyton McNabb is, but look her up right now. Peyton McNabb may be the smartest high school student in America, may be the toughest high school student in America. She got hit. We all saw the video. I don't know if we have the video, but she got hit with a volleyball by some monster transgender dude playing high school volleyball. I mean, playing high school volleyball against a dude. And the reason she played against a dude, here it is right here. You're going to see Peyton. Here's the dude. The dude hits her right in the face. Now, you can say whatever. That is ridiculous. Some dude playing high school volleyball. Peyton got a concussion. Peyton has a younger sister. Peyton doesn't want her younger sister to go up against a dude or dudes. And the truth of the matter is, I don't blame her. Hey, let me know when Peyton's video's on and we're all good. I'm having all kind of problem with my earpiece today, but we'll get it figured out. Look, Peyton's unafraid. Peyton is a spokeswoman. How about being a high school student and being a national spokeswoman? Peyton McNabb, you are freaking awesome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Uh-oh.
Oh, I don't know.
Dylan, am I missing something? Peyton McNabb is a spokeswoman, Independent Women's Forum, and good. Peyton, can I get you? Do I have you?
I think so.
Uh-oh. What's going on? Did I screw something up? I probably did because that's what I do. But anyway, fellas, let me know what's going on. I love talking to smart women. I love talking to smart, tough women. I live with smart, tough women. I've always lived with smart, tough women. And she's on. I got it, but I can't hear her, fellas. Hey, Peyton, how are you? Let me see. I don't know. Peyton, how are you? What am I doing wrong, fellas? Peyton stood up. She stood up to the press secretary. How about that? How about being in high school and standing up to the press secretary? I know hey, fellas, you're going to have to help me here. What's going on with the audio? Oh, man. I'm dying to talk to Peyton. Must be her IFB. I think her Zoom is freezing. Uh-oh. I think my IFB is good. Hang on. Hello?
Hello.
Hey, Peyton, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Man, what a blank show, huh? Hey, all right, let me ask you a question. We showed the video of your volleyball game where, the big old dude somehow got to play. What were you thinking before the match when this dude comes out in a women's high school volleyball game?
Well, obviously, me, along with almost everyone else on my team, was completely not wanting to play against them at all. It was a conference. We knew that we had to, and we were being forced to by our um, athletic association. And just seeing that, it's just like, it's mind numbing because you just don't understand why we're even having to do it.
What did they tell you? So, you just said, hey, look, we don't want to play this guy. What was like the reason? And then after the video, we showed the video, after you get hit in the head here and get a concussion, did anybody apologize? What was the reaction from the same group?
Yeah, there's no remorse from anyone. No one really cared. So my school obviously was really upset about it. County. So I actually did for the rest of the year.
What gives you the guts? And I loved it. I've seen you on numerous shows. You're not afraid, man. You just came right after the press secretary's idiotic response about, because it was actually so idiotic. She was asked a question about high school men playing with women, and she turned it into, wait a second, you're asking a question that transgender kids are dangerous. It was so ridiculous, the answer.
Yeah, it was absolutely ridiculous. I don't really care to speak out because I know what I'm saying is the truth, and that's all I want to talk about is the truth. I just want everything to get the because what she said was completely ridiculous. She has no idea what she's even talking about, and she's just doing what she always does.
What she's doing, and I love that, she's doing what she always does. What she's doing is defending a side. She's not debating the issue.
No.
When you get asked to speak, at first, like, how daunting is it? Because you're speaking on something nationally. You're not speaking on something on your local high school paper or your local, you're speaking on a national forum. Do you think anybody's listening? Do you think, I don't know, Riley Gaines is our friend. Do you think anyone's paying attention? Do you think there'll be change? Common sense.
I do think a lot of paying attention. I think people are waking up to the issue because they're seeing how bad it's getting. It has overwhelming support that you wouldn't think it has. And I was afraid of that before I started speaking out. I was still in the middle of my school year, my last school year, and I didn't want, I wanted some normalcy for last year in high school, and it was really difficult with the whole situation. And I knew speaking out would make it even harder. But I knew it was the right thing, so I chose to do it.
Damn right. Damn right, Peyton. Thank you for joining us. Your internet's breaking up a little bit, but and keep speaking out, and I hope you'll come back.
Thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure. I'm sorry about the internet. Peyton McNabb, look, the story was not going away. I don't understand why we just don't have a little common sense and say, hey, boys, you're a boy, play with the boys. Girls, play with the girls. What's so hard about this? I don't understand why we make the world so difficult. I honestly don't. I swear to God, I don't. And Peyton McNabb and Riley Gaines and other like her must speak out. Look, I've told you this a million times. My wife, tough as hell. Softball, a legend. My stepdaughter, tough as hell. She's going to go down to IU and play her 5th year next year after a great career at Harvard, a Hall of Fame career at Harvard. Strong women are my life. My daughter, strong as hell. My mother, strong as hell. Strong women are my life. And I love when strong women speak out. I swear to God I do. And look, men, you're too soft. Men, you're too scared. Men, you're too chicken Blake. Men, you're trying to be too cool. You're trying not to, somebody might say I'm a sexist, I'm a misogynist. Shut up. Speak the hell up, man. And you people on high school committee, shut up and quit being worried about the smallest group of us and protect women. Protect freaking women. well, the LGBTQ community might get mad. The trans community might get mad. Well, what about the normal people community? What about that? What about the kids, the boys, the girls that go to your schools? What about that community? Why are you putting them at danger? Look at this. Look at this dude. Hits her right in the face. Are you kidding me? What about people that just grow up to be boys and girls and they don't need, oh my God, the transgender? Hey, transgender's great. Wonderful. Be transgender. Do your thing. Don't push it on kids. Do your thing, baby. But girls in high school should not be subjected to playing against dudes who think for 10 minutes or maybe a lifetime that they are, oh, quote, I'm transgender. Yeah, 10 minutes later, you're not. We'll be right back. Shut up. It's so stupid.
Welcome into OutKick, the show. I am Clay Travis, your fearless leader.
I am going to continue to argue that sports is one of the great unifying forces in all of American life.
ESPN is a sinking ship. Democrats are now the party of the white, woke college graduate.
We live in a land of participation trophies.
You gotta lean into the turns. You really gotta lean into the turns.
When Leah Thomas walked in that first day, it got silent, and every girl was uncomfortable.
Very difficult to go back-to-back years in the NFL with the number 1 overall pick.
I've been out of LA long enough to have forgotten that libs, no matter how ridiculous the scenario, are gonna lib. Another week of inflation, another week with Biden with COVID, and another set of losers to crown. People don't watch the WNBA on TV, in person, on a plane, on a train, on a bus, or on purpose.
The scary thing, Tommy, is in the history of this government, I've never seen them give anything back that they've taken.
Oh no, they never do.
And they won't.
We've seen coaches throw water bottles. We've seen coaches act like idiots. We've seen coaches slap other coaches. But I think if you're involved in carjacking, you're inherently a rotten human being. The level of stupid that sometimes gets on our YouTube chat just gives me a headache. You're born a male, play with males. You're born a female, play with females. Don't at me about it, people.
I believe this person is the greatest player anybody alive will ever see. How can you hate Derek Jeter? A guy's on-base percentage tells me his batting eye, and a guy's slugging percentage tells me if he's a threat. That's the kind of guy that throws a no-hitter, that effectively wild guy.
Hunter Biden reached a plea deal in his gun and tax case. The smartest guy that I know, Hunter Biden, according to the Washington Post, kept his sorry, ridiculous, drug-addled, impregnating stripper, dating and screwing his sister-in-law, abandoning his child son of the president. He reached a plea deal that's going to keep his sorry ass out of jail, and the Washington Post could not protect him more. Minor tax crimes, they said. Trump administration, Trump appointed. The Washington Post can't stop themselves because Trump derangement is absolutely still out there. So good for the smartest guy Joe Biden knows. Him criminally challenged, somewhat incestuous, cocaine doing, drug toting, stripper screwing, first son. Yay, go get him, Hunter Biden. That's a win. In the Biden crime family, you got to understand, a headline like this, Hunter Biden reaches deal to plead guilty in tax and gun case. That's a win for the crime family. Remember when they said there was nothing there? What Hunter Biden did was, as a cocaine addict, when he filled out his forms to buy a gun, he forgot to mention that he's a crackhead. He forgot to mention that he's a skeezy stripper doing, sister-in-law screwing, stripper impregnating, piece of crap son of the president. He forgot to mention that he was a drug-addled, cocaine-doing pain in the ass. Hey, look, I'm a cocaine-doing pain in the ass. Look at this guy. The smartest guy Joe Biden knows takes pictures of himself half naked, coked up, with guns, with hookers. That's the smartest guy Joe Biden knows. I told you this before. Don't hang with idiots. And Joe Biden has apparently always hung with idiots. You know, when you come on our show, we are going to give you, baby, the latest and the greatest. I don't know what else to tell you, but Joe Biden's kid avoids jail time, and we all are better for it. Draymond Green. I got people all over the NBA. Draymond Green declined his $27 million. How about that? Guy that can't make a basket declines $27 million to play basketball with the Golden State Warriors. Now, I have been told by my people Golden State couldn't be happier. Now, Mike Dunleavy Jr., who is the new general manager, says we definitely want Draymond back. That's not what I'm hearing. I'm hearing the coach wants Draymond back. I'm hearing the organization would like for Draymond to go fly a kite. They would like the organization itself is like, look, this jackass has embarrassed us. He just cost us a championship. He can't coexist with Jordan Poole and others. We got to get his ass out of here. The coach, however, is like, look, I don't give a damn. I just want to win, and Draymond helps us win. It's a conundrum. So Green made it easy for them. Green made it very easy for them by rejecting their $27.5 million offer. Now, some stupid team is going to give Draymond Green more than that. And mark my words, what's the date today? Whatever the date today is, the 21st. Mark my words, some dumbass team is going to give Draymond Green more money than that. And Draymond Green is going to fall. The only reason Draymond Green isn't out of the league yet is because he's with Golden State and he's surrounded by adults. Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, they are adults. They don't need Draymond Green. Draymond Green's going to get more money, mark my words, and he's going to go somewhere else. And they're going to expect him to be something that he's not. They're going to expect him to be a leader of a team. He's not. He is a mouth on a team where everybody eventually in the organization gets tired of him. Klay and Steph Curry didn't get tired of him because they don't have to. They don't have to deal with him. They can look at Draymond and say, get the hell out of here. We're carrying your sorry ass. But Draymond Green's going to go somewhere. You mark my words. And he will then be on the downside and out of the league within 4 or 5 years. Now, he might be anyway. And then we're going to have to watch Draymond Green attempt like Frank Kaminsky attempted to be Pat McAfee. We're going to watch Draymond Green attempt to be Charles Barkley, and it's not going to work. You mark my words. Just remember I said, Dakich, you're racist. You know, I'm not. I'm just telling you the way the world works. This isn't something that I made up. I've watched this stupidity for years. A Packers cornerback says that Jordan Love is the best quarterback in the league. This is why players should not talk. This is why players should be seen but not heard, because they say stupid things. Some guy named Jair Alexander, he says he's the best QB in the league. Good for Jair Alexander. And here's what he's going to say. Man, I'm a competitor, and I always believe in my quarterback, man. Good for you. Good for you. So now we know that there is a guy in the NFL named Jair Alexander. Good for you. What is it that all of a sudden we got to hear from Jordan Love? Look, understand this. Understand. In the way the NFL works, when Jordan Love becomes a mediocre to bad quarterback, nobody, and I mean nobody, is ever going to hear from Green Bay. You think Green Bay moves the TV market without Aaron Rodgers or Brett Favre? You think anybody wants to watch Green Bay at 8-9 or 6-11? No. 0-5 with Jordan Love. Now, if Jordan Love becomes the next in the lineage of Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers, then we got something interesting. But Jordan Love looks soft as hell to me. I look at Jordan Love's eyes and I'm like, yeah, I don't think so. I'm just saying. So I get it, but remember I said this. A 3-5 Green Bay team is uninteresting. A 3-5 Green Bay team, when you have Aaron Rodgers, is interesting. Jordan Love, what is that? So good for Jair Alexander. Another mouth that when he talks, you just go, man, that's just a dumbass. I don't know what
Happy
to
Father's
tell you,
Day to
but that's
all the Bears
what
fans
is.
out there. Go Pack, go.
Yeah, I don't know. Now he's just stupid. I mean, is he trying to talk smack? Is he trying to say, I'm your daddy? I mean, what he's saying is he's their son. So Jordan Love not only has soft eyes, but Jordan Love is the son now of the Chicago Bears. It used to be Aaron Rodgers was their daddy. Remember, he said it. I own these people. I'm their daddy. Jordan Love is now the son? I'm just telling you, man. I don't want anybody to shut up and dribble, but shutting up ain't a bad move. I don't know who Jair Alexander. I'm sure uncouth, DD, not knowing who Jair Alexander is. I don't. I'm sorry. I know I'm supposed to. Let me look him up. I know he's probably an all-world player. I know he is. He's great. Yeah, I don't give a rat's ass who he is because he is going to be absolutely, without Brett Favre, there ain't nothing. Oh, he's a little 5'10 cornerback out of Louisville. Oh, well, how do I not know who he is? I should know all of the cornerbacks for the Green Bay Packers. Oh, my God. I do know this. Let's see. This idiot, this genius, cost himself $700,000 by not going to the OTAs. Why $700,000 wasn't enough to get Jair Alexander? Oh, okay. Jair Alexander has always approached things a little differently and now includes walking away from $700,000 he could have collected for participating in the off-season program. The second-team All-Pro corner. Wasn't enough. All right. Okay, Jair. When Jair's broke, like 75% of NFL players, he'll be wishing he had that $700,000. There you go. Progressives don't want you to know of a criminal background. They want you to stop as a landlord. Stop going into people's criminal backgrounds. If you want to rent a place, let me tell you something. If I rented a place, first thing I would do is look at someone's criminal background. I don't need criminals in my spot, and if progressives don't like it, good for you. Yay, rock. Go fight, win. Progressives want, and they always look like this. Stop landlords. The bill would prevent customer reporting agencies from including criminal history in screenings per prospective tenant. Yeah, well, tough. Good. Put a bill in. Look at these two people. Look at these two clowns. Do they not look like progressives? Of course they don't want you to look in your criminal background. I am. I'm getting ready to own a place over here that I'm going to rent out. I guarantee you I'm looking at people's criminal background. I'm looking at their financial history. I'm looking at everything, baby. I'm looking at their Twitter page. I'm looking at their Instagram page. I'm looking at all of it. Who you crapping? I'm not letting some crackhead decide that he's going to be a squatter in my place. Are you out of your mind? Oh, hell no. I'm looking at your criminal background. I'm looking at everything before I rent to you. And if you don't like it, tough. I don't know what to tell you. So you little crazy people with your shaved heads and your cute glasses, God bless you. Good for you. But I'm looking at every damn thing, period. And so are you. And your neighbors want me to. You're damn right they do. Too many crazy people out there. I don't need crazy moving into my spots. I don't need crazy moving into the neighbor's house next door. Hey, every day in Chicago, whether it's a suburb or wherever, we got murder and murder and murder. Every day. 60 people have been shot, 10 dead this past weekend. 60 people shot. Some white dude said to me, well, you don't like black people. What's that got to do with it? I treat everybody the same. I treat by the content of their character, not the color of their skin. And 60 people have been shot, 10 confirmed dead in shootings across Chicago over a 3-day holiday weekend so far. Now, I don't know what to tell you. This is every day. This is every day. If you want to see something really disturbing, look at when people were shot in Alameda County, California. Look at the idiots twerking, simulating sex on the side of the ambulance while people are dying. We got to get fathers back in this world, baby. We're going to have a weekly check-on. We'll check in on Chicago damn near every day and see how many people are murdered. See how many people are shot. Well, that's racist. No, it's not. White people get shot too, and white people do some shooting. So just stop. We judge people by the content of their character, not the color of their skin. We're colorblind here on this show. We just report what is. 60 people shot. 60 people. I want you to think about that. Seriously. Think about that. 60. That's 12 fivesomes of golf shot. 10 dead. That's a whole basketball court dead because some idiots are just running wild in the street thinking it's okay to shoot people. Jeez. All right, Circle K is mad. An old lady touched a cigarette thief. That's right. Some dude was stealing some smokes. She had worked at a convenience store for 18 years. She briefly touched the criminal as he attempted to rob the store, and now she's been fired in Colorado. What's wrong with people? Sue the living hell out of them. 75-year-old woman, she's just trying to say, hey, look, man, relax. You don't need to steal. I'll give them to you. But guess what? In our world, nah, it ain't good. No. Somehow, some way, she gets fired. Can you believe this? Somebody goes into your store and, I don't know, let's just fire the lady that actually tried to stop the cig thief. The world is insane, people. I'm trying to help you. We bring you this news so you can know what's going on in the country with which we live. All right, let's go back to something, shall we? Let's go back to John Morant and his crew. I love recapping stories. So John Morant, who is the young star, I want you to think about this just for a second. John Morant's camp feels like the NBA and the media are out to get him. This is akin to a guy waking up and saying, I'm going to put on my fake tits, my vajayjay. I'm going to put on my wig, my makeup, a dude, and I'm going to go twerk in front of kids. The question is, what? Why would the NBA, I'm going to the YouTube chat on this. Why would the NBA want to go at John Morant, its young star? Why? Why would the NBA say, you know what, we're going to wake up this morning, John Morant, and we're coming for you. Yeah, we are. We are coming for you, our young star. Because you know what? We got so many young stars in the league that do what Morant does, that have elevated an entire city, an entire region of the country to watch the NBA, that we want to bring him down. Yeah, the media in the NBA are more apt to go clubbing with John Morant than they are to try to bring him down. There is nobody cooler to NBA media guy than the young NBA hit player with the headphones, the bottle service, the velvet ropes, and the dollars in his pocket and ready to make it rain, baby. The NBA media loves that. They can't get enough of that. They can't. So John Morant and his people think that, hey, they're trying to bring us down. How about you bringing yourself down? How about you're sitting there with guns and videos? How about you got an idiot friend who's a little punk driving a car, singing, encouraging you to be stupid? The world is insane. Speaking of the insane world, I'm going to go back to another story. Explain to me why ESPN, will you please? Explain to me why ESPN and Norby Williamson and all Jimmy Patero allow such racist garbage as to call Nikola Jokic, my Serbian brother, a tub of lard. As to let Kendrick Perkins lie about, 80% of the voters. Really? Why do they allow words like the Great White Hope? What is this, 1973? So we got articles all over the place. This made people crazy. John Stockton and Steve Nash, that would have made ESPN insane. Is that Scalabrini getting it done? Is that Scalabrini? Holy cow. We got a Scalabrini. Look at Steve Nash. This is making absolute NBA media implode. We're showing too many white guys. Oh, my God, and we haven't shown Larry Bird? We're showing Kyle Korver, who gave... We are? Kyle Korver, he of white privilege, and there he is, Jess Kersey and Larry Bird. This is too many white guys in one sitting for the NBA media. Kendrick Perkins' head just imploded. We just showed Nikola Jokic, my Serbian brother. Oh, my God. We just showed too many white guys in one montage. The NBA media is ready to implode. We just showed 5 white guys in a row. They can't stop being racist on ESPN. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. We just showed. Oh, look at the Birdman. Look at the Birdman. It's unbelievable. Oh, my God. We just showed white guys. You're not allowed to show that many white guys. Look, no more than 2 max white guys on a TV screen. 2 if there's 4 people on a screen. 1 if there's 3 or less, but 2 is pushing it for the NBA media, and they think it's racist. They think it's racist that a freaking white guy is the best player on the planet. They can't stop being racist. They can't shut their mouths and just do what I do every day, which is judge people by the content of their character, not the color of their skin. They just can't do it. They just can't do it. They can't do it. Bill Rhoden says somebody, somewhere, somehow is calling Nikola Jokic the greatest player of all time. Nobody said that. Show me where anybody said that isn't like a Denver Nuggets fan. Show me where any NBA media crowned him, I don't know. Show it to me. But apparently, Bill Rhoden is upset by that. Apparently, Bill Rhoden is saying, well, we can't have this. This is absurd. Bill Rhoden's a 73-year-old black dude that has been trying so hard. And every single person that's worked with Bill Rhoden knows he's trying so hard. Oh, my God, he tries hard. And good for him. I mean, look, there is money, cash money in being racist. There is cash money in the world of cap. And if you're 73 years old and somebody still wants you to write something, you might as well go down swinging. You might as well go down stupid. What are you going to write? Nikola Jokic came into the NBA as the 42nd pick in the draft. Nikola Jokic, when he was drafted, the draft coverage had gone to a Taco Bell commercial, and Nikola Jokic has established himself as the best basketball player in the world, period. You can't say that because, truthfully, when Bill Rhoden goes to dinner with his African-American friends, they would crush him for that. That's all this is about. That's it. See, I like what Julius Randle said. Julius Randle, he said, look, I'm just stunned that this slow, fat guy can become so good. Now that I can get down with. He's right. Sometimes you look at a guy as a basketball player and you go, this guy's slow and fat. And next thing you know, he's dropping 30 on you and you don't understand it. At least Julius Randle didn't say slow, fat white boy, which is what every guy in the NBA can't wait to say. You know, the slow, fat white boy got us. But hey, look, let's be honest. Bill Rhoden shows once again that racism is okay in the NBA. And racism is encouraged at ESPN. Chris Paul got traded and he's blaming Isaiah Thomas. Matt Ishbia is the owner of the Phoenix Suns. And Matt Ishbia is apparently friends with Isaiah Thomas. One thing Isaiah Thomas will do is he will latch on. Isaiah Thomas is one of those guys. He's one of the smartest guys ever in the NBA, one of the greatest players in the NBA, and he knows where the bread is buttered, and he wants to be successful. Here's what Isaiah Thomas used to do when he was in the NBA. Isaiah Thomas used to go to a city, and he would find out who are the billionaires, and he would arrange to have lunch with those guys, pick their brains. Isaiah Thomas is a freaking genius. So Isaiah Thomas gets with Matt Ishbia. Matt Ishbia is smart enough to understand that Isaiah Thomas, I know the reputation, but Isaiah Thomas pretty damn good at building in the NBA. Yeah, the Knicks thing got him. Yeah, he didn't need to do the stupid stuff that he did in drafts and stuff like that. He needed to be smarter, but he's a brilliant mind. He's a brilliant business mind, and he is a brilliant NBA guy. So Chris Paul is no longer useful at 38 years old to the Phoenix Suns. So they got rid of him. Chris Paul is whining. Chris Paul is saying, hey, look, Isaiah Thomas had something to do with it. And if he did, the entire city of Phoenix should be celebrating it. Mark Bartelstein is the agent that made the deal for Bradley Beal. Mark Bartelstein's son, Josh, is the CEO of the Phoenix Suns. Good for the Bartelsteins. Josh Bartelstein's a great dude. Not kind of a good dude. Josh Bartelstein is a great dude. And if Josh Bartelstein and his dad got the deal done, then good for them. Bringing Bradley Beal to the Phoenix Suns. I don't give a damn if it smells of impropriety, if I'm a Phoenix fan. You know what I want? I want wins. And if this helps you win, then God bless you. Period. I don't know what to tell you. That's the way I look at sports. Look, Bob Huggins could make all the slurs, can drink his face off, and you know what? I would argue that if he were coming off a national championship or a Final Four, given all of that, West Virginia wouldn't have fired him. But West Virginia had no choice but to fire him because he hadn't won enough. I know West Virginia. They don't care, and I'm with them. Look, let's be honest. We care about winning, and if anybody's mad at the connection of the Bartelsteins, that's on you, period. It's on nobody else. That is on nobody else. I get no fun league. I understand that people are going to make fun of Isaiah. I totally get it. I do. And he needs to wear it. But I'm just telling you, the dude is brilliant. Brilliant. Not sort of, kind of, maybe. Absolutely stone cold brilliant. And if you don't think so, God bless you. And you could put up all kind of articles where I'm wrong. God bless you. God bless you. Last thing, I'm going to go back to this. You know, I've told you this before. I think it's the 7th floor, maybe the 4th floor. I can't remember. I know it's in building 4 at ESPN. Norby Williamson and the big hitters at ESPN are sitting up there. And they hate. They hate. It's not a racist thing. It's a they've gotten away from their message thing. You got to understand something about the people of ESPN, the older generation. The guys that have been there for a long time and girls that have been there for a long, long time. They love the place. They built the place. A legend, Barry Sachs, died last year. These guys love it. And they know the mission because they're all sports freaks. And they're sitting there and they're reading the crap that Bill Rhoden writes. They're watching the crap that they see on their NBA Countdown show. And they're watching stupid idiots. Stupid idiots is fine. It seems redundant. Like Kendrick Perkins. And they're like, man, we've lost our way. ESPN, you got a chance. You got layoffs coming. Don't do it just to the white dudes. Do it to everybody that is getting in the way of your getting back to serving the sports viewer anytime, anywhere. That's the mission of Bill Rasmussen. That should be your mission. All right, we come back. My boy Hookstead joins us. I love Hookstead. Hookstead is going to talk about whatever the hell Hookstead wants to talk. It's hour 2, baby. Go tell your friends. We got a great chat going. Rip me if you'd like over Isaiah. I ain't mad about it. Be right back.
I just think the way Anthony Bass handled this was so sloppy.
Oh, I think it's perfect.
And
I mean,
what he reposted, and then how
he bent the knee and bowed. He was going to catch the ceremonial first pitch. And after that was announced, then they assigned him to the minors.
Yeah, that's the problem, though. He should have never done that. Don't apologize. Don't bend the knee.
Well, but then it would just be sloppy. He'd be sent down anyway.
But it's not.
But after doing that, he had the general manager on the record saying he would not be disciplined and that he was apologetic and accountable.
Look, if you're going to put that,
and then a guy came off the 60-day DL.
If it's demonic and evil to market that way, that's very different. Go back and read what Trevor Williams and Clayton Kershaw said. That's where the big difference lies to begin with. Very different speech from those guys. Anthony Bass also, if he truly believes it's demonic and evil, then stand by it. Because the moment you apologized, you open yourself up to the booze you got the next night. That happened. If you believe this firmly in it, you ended up cut anyways. So instead of looking like a huge jerk and having to go out and catch the pitch on Pride Night and be forced to apologize and stumble through an apology while saying, I fully believe in the post, but I also see I could be seen as hateful, so I apologize for that, but I don't apologize for this. Oh, by the way, Anthony, you're cut. Get your ass to AAA. He could have cut all that out and said, no, I stand by what I said. I'm entitled to my rights and my opinions, just like anyone else who has an opinion on the other side. He could have gotten cut the same way, but we could have skipped all this stuff.
Well,
meanwhile, Trevor Williams and Clayton Kershaw handled it in a much smarter way than he did, and I think they were much more effective in making their point than Anthony Bass.
But
You know, our OutKick, or our YouTube chat's pretty good. Somebody on the YouTube chat said, ESPN, Kendrick Perkins, Bill Rhoden, Stephen A. Smith want the prototypical white boy in the NBA to be Stuart Gray. True story. This is a true story, David Hookstead. There were 3 centers my year, 1981, that were all the rage. We all went to 5-star basketball camp. Michael Jordan was there, the 3 centers, and they're all considered the same. Stuart Gray, Greg Dreiling, and Patrick Ewing. And I'm like, wait a second here. I'm no genius, but I could tell Patrick Ewing's a little better than the other 2. Dreiling ended up in the NBA. Gray ended up in the NBA. But ESPN and the NBA media wants the Stuart Gray to be the white boy. You don't even know who Stuart Gray is, do you? You don't
never heard of him before in my life. This is the first I'm hearing of this, Dan.
You suck. You're too young. You suck.
Hey, I'm 31. I'm an old man. I'm 31 and I got the body of a 90-year-old. I got back pain, knee pain, ankle pain. It just never ends.
Oh, are you kidding me? I got to tell you, wait till you get 60. These are dog years playing at Indiana and working with Coach Knight. See this? This is the face of a 28-year-old, but it's 60. Hey, a couple questions. So Nick Saban's like, yeah, well, players don't want to be as good because of the transfer portal and NIL. You wrote the article about it, but I'm going even a little. I think Nick Saban's just bitching about everything now. He was talking about his team not in the playoffs and he'd have been favored. What's Nick Saban got going on?
Well, his playoff complaints are ridiculous because his argument isn't that they won enough games to be in the playoffs. It's we would have been favored against the teams. Well, that's not how this works. You either win and you get there or you don't. On the NIL stuff, I think he's actually bringing up a point a lot of people feel about young athletes today, young men in their 20s and teens. Life gets a little hard. I'm just going to quit. And his point was, we're now giving these kids a ton of money, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. They're making cash. But at the first sign of trouble, they pull up roots, they quit the team, they hop in the transfer portal. What other job in America can you sign a contract to make 6 figures, and if you have a bad day, you just quit? I personally agree with that. You know, at OutKick, I don't just get to pout if I don't get my way and then quit and join a rival company the very next day. But in college football, it's kind of how it works. And I agree with Saban. It's a bit much.
You know, one of the things, though, I would argue with you is this, and this is what coaches are saying. There really isn't a contract. Coaches want contracts now. You know, the NIL isn't really a contract. It isn't legally binding. You can't. And that's what coaches want. Coaches want this. Okay, and would you agree with this, David? If we're going to be a business, then let's operate like a business. If they're going to be employees, let's operate like employees, and let's have some binding legal agreement, a.k.a. a contract.
Yes, absolutely. I totally agree. And I think that was Saban's point. There are no contracts that these players are getting. They're reaping the rewards and they're able to walk away at any moment. If you're going to take the money, Deion Sanders said it best. If you want to be paid like a professional, you need to act like a professional. You don't get to act like a child, but yet make big money. That's not the way the world works. I'd be all for it. You want the cash, sign the piece of paper, and you're going to be held to those standards.
That's exactly right. And that's coming, I think. Don't you think that's coming?
It is absolutely coming sooner or later. It's absolutely coming. Now, is it in 2 years, 3 years, 10 years? I can't tell you that. I don't know. But make no doubt, Dan, that is where this ends. That is absolutely where this ends.
You know, one of the things that I have said, because of the rules, When I played in college basketball, I did not see Bob Knight or the coaches from the time we basically had our banquet until next spring. We did not have summer workouts that were organized. We would play every day, and you could go into the weight room. I would argue players do work harder, but I would also argue, oh, man, look, this isn't going well. But here's the biggest difference. Let me back up. Players are working harder. In my day, Illinois, and actually even up to 2007 or 8 when I got done coaching, Illinois would never have called a current player to Indiana and enticed them to transfer. I'm just using Illinois. Now, David, I think this is where coaches have a real problem. Now it's just open season. You got a guy that you think is good, you're going to call that guy and say, look, you're only making 50 grand here. I can get you 150. Why don't you come play for us? That's the real problem here.
And I think that's one of the unintended consequences people didn't expect from NIL, or maybe they did expect it and they just kept their mouth shut. You're 100% right, Dan. We see it all the time. There's big-time football players who have a great year at a big school. All of a sudden, they hop in the transfer portal. No one really seems to understand why. And later you find out they're getting a bag that was agreed before they even left the first program. That cannot be tolerated. Now, once a kid's in a portal, he's in the portal. Do whatever you want. If you're a coach and you're found tampering with players on another team's roster, you should lose scholarships. You should be suspended. That's the only way that ends. The punishment has to be stiff.
Yeah, I agree. At some point, you got to protect the program. This is what I've always argued, David. I get it. Players who make money. Players want more. Great. I'm all for it. But I got to tell you, at some point, you got to protect these programs and you got to protect the schools.
There's no question you have to protect the schools. And at what point, if we just allow the Wild West and the chaos, fans feel a connection to guys on their college roster. They feel a connection to the school. That's why college sports resonates differently than pro sports. But if we're going to have roster turnover of 50, 40, 60% every year, this is just professional sports, and you lose that amateur connection. Protect the schools, protect the fans, because that's who's buying the tickets at the end of the day, right, Dan?
You know, it'd be interesting. You know, we saw the reverse boycott in Oakland. If some school just said, hey, look, tired of guys leaving. We're not showing up to the game. The dollar wins, and that leads me to this video of our guy, Ron DeSantis, just crushing Bud Light. Let's go to DeSantis, baby.
Okay. Just so you know, I'll serve you anything except Bud Light. Does anybody want to draft on the house? Here we go. All right. I'll tell you what. Let's do a cut. Great idea. Oh, this is great. This is great. Yeah, you gonna go? Okay.
Is this Bud Light thing going to end? How does this Bud Light thing end? Let me ask you.
Well, if Anheuser-Busch came to me and they said, David, not only are you unbelievably good looking with great blue eyes, but you're a genius in the business world, and we want you to save the company, I'd say, okay, I want X amount of money, and here's what we're going to do. We're going to give a very public apology. We're going to apologize. We're going to take full responsibility. We're not going to deflect. And then we're going to pick a great charity, maybe one to do with the military, maybe one to do with children, and we're going to donate $50 million to them. And we're going to make sure people understand we're putting our money where our mouth is. That's the only way this ends. And until there's an apology, some people take responsibility, it's not going to end. The stock price of Anheuser-Busch is down, I believe, about 15% in 2.5 months, Dan. 2.5 months. It's a bloodbath out there for the company. The sales are down, stock is down, nobody's coming back, and yet the one thing they can't do is just apologize. They'll kind of tease it, but they won't do it. Just do it and this all ends.
All right, but you're going to make the trans community mad.
I couldn't care less. I could not care less. And that doesn't mean that we think those are bad people or those are people that don't deserve dignity or anything like that. But I'm not going to upset the customer base to appease a tiny number of people who are never going to drink Bud Light anyways. So why are we bending over backwards to make these people happy when they're never going to buy the product? It makes no sense. This is simple economics, Dan.
I've said the same thing about Bud Light that I'm going to say about Major League Baseball. I go to a Major League Baseball game, and if it's hat day or if it's bat day when I had my son, if it was poster day, yay, rock, go fight, win. But I go there, I don't care who's having sex with who. I just don't. It's business. It's baseball. I want to go see a baseball game. I'd say the same thing about beer. I don't need to know who you're screwing. I don't need to know who's screwing who. I want to buy a beer. I don't need to be political. I don't. I don't. If I want political in my product, I go to Ben & Jerry's. You know what I'm saying? But Bud Light, just make us a beer and enjoy it. Don't worry about it.
For some reason, we've accepted this default position that sports teams and major corporations have to get political. They're required to let us know what they think politically. No, they're not. My dad is a veterinarian. If you went to my dad to get your dog fixed and he started lecturing you about abortion and taxes and gun rights, everyone say, whoa, that's inappropriate. I'm here to get my dog fixed. Why are you telling me your political views? Yet you go to a baseball game, they'll shove every view they got down your throat. Why is that acceptable? It's baseball. That's what we paid for.
I want to go see the game. Yes. I'm mad at baseball because starting pitchers don't go into the 7th or 8th inning. Danny Plesac of MLB Network, we were old enough to remember oh, man, Fergie Jenkins is going to pitch for the Cubs against Steve Carlton. That's going to be great. All right, now Drew Smiley goes into the 5th last night, 92 pitches, and he's got to come out. So I'm mad about that. I don't need baseball piling on who's screwing who. I don't need it.
Absolutely. Same with every beer company, same with every major corporation. We pay you for a product. Give us the product and nothing else. We don't need it. It's not what we pay for.
My wife believes, and my wife is very smart, but she believes in aliens. She believes we're not being told nothing. She believes there are going to be zombies walking this earth. She read me an article about some kind of zombie dust that is now in flies that draw male flies to women and kills them both. But now, ladies and gentlemen, we've got a UFO whistleblower claims, we got a whistleblower making claims, and we got a senator, and senators saying these are pretty true. What's going on in the world of UFOs?
So there is a whistleblower by the name of David Grush. He's a former intel officer. He's made the claim that the U.S. government has a secret UFO program, that they have possession of non-human crafts, possibly bodies of those pilots. I'm not saying I believe it. Those are the claims. He has whistleblower protection from the government, which means they find him credible. That's step one. Step two is Senator Josh Hawley of Missouri was asked about the claims, and he said, quote, they were pretty close to what they were told in a briefing. So he was not surprised by the whistleblower claim. And no one really noticed this quote from him until OutKick covered it. And now it's all over the internet that Hawley admitted that these claims are close to what he heard. I don't know if aliens exist, but I'll tell you this. When a U.S. senator says something like that, it sends my balloon up, my radar's going off, and I'm like, wait a second. And I'll tell you this, Dan, we had an OutKick exclusive. We spoke to some members up on Capitol Hill privately, and they believe this whistleblower is very credible. They believe that they don't know if he's telling the truth, but they believe there's credibility to the claims he's making.
Which side are you on? Do you want aliens around?
That's a great question. I feel like the obvious answer is no, because if aliens have the technology to get here and they decide to get malicious, we got nothing to stop them. We're going to get wiped out. But when I was in college, we'd always debate, would you date an alien? Now, I've been dating the same woman for years. We're very, very happy. But if the aliens came down and, they were all supermodels, kind of changes the dynamics of the situation just a little bit. I'm not saying they would be, but you got to factor that in. Overall, no, I will stick to humans. I don't want an alien war. I don't think it would go well for the humans.
Look, my head was just blown. Would you date an alien was a conversation when you were in college. Ours was like, would you date like Thelma on Scooby-Doo, or which one of the Gilligan's Island girls, or, 7 Minutes of Heaven with I Dream a Genie in a Closet. You guys went aliens on us.
I gotta be careful what I say. I have some friends who've done well. I don't want to throw them under the bus, but the hypothetical debates we would have, Dan, dating an alien, that was vanilla. And we had that debate, and it essentially came down, obviously, what do they look like? Are they Victoria's Secrets models, or do they look like Jabba the Hutt? That's going to make all the difference in the world. But yeah, I can say I had some very fun conversations in college. I'll leave it at that. We'll put that in the classified envelope.
So you're saying that looks matter?
They do. They do to me, Dan. And guess what? Here's a news flash for everyone else watches. They matter to every other red-blooded man in this country. Fact of life.
Oh, they certainly do. I got to tell you. Look, we're not supposed to say that, but I got to tell you, looks matter. Like,
don't be afraid to tell the truth.
The other day, twice in the last 2 weeks, I'm at a Catholic festival over here where all you do is drink, listen to music, and play blackjack for Jesus, right? So I'm sitting there with my wife, and two women come up to my wife and go, "Man, you look like Jennifer Aniston." And then we went out to dinner in a restaurant the other day, and the waitress is like, "I just got to tell you, you look like Jennifer Aniston." She's a little embarrassed. I sat up a little taller, right? I'm like, "Yeah, she does. Yeah, and I look like George Clooney or Brad Pitt, damn it." Your looks matter. Hell yeah, they do.
Yeah, take some pride in that, Dan. Good for you. That's a hell of a compliment to your wife. That's about as nice of a compliment as you can give a woman.
Damn right. Damn right. Appreciate you, my friend. Keep killing. Keep
Thanks.
killing.
See you later, Dan. See you later.
I love talking to Hookstead, and you should too. Read him. D. Hookstead. He's got the most important show anywhere when he talks to our veterans. Haley, I don't know what you're telling me here. It's either going to be David Dershowitz, or it's going to be Alan Dershowitz, or it's going to be, I'm not sure, Clay Travis. We got to talk about this. We got to talk about Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden pled guilty to stuff. Seriously, Hunter Biden pled guilty to tax fraud. It's a 4-year deal. He pled guilty to taxes. He pled guilty to gun charges. Emma Jo Morris has Hunter Biden's freaking hard drive in her apartment. She showed it on this phone. Now, you guys that refuse to believe anything other than the Biden crime family is great, didn't believe Emma Jo, well, you're just idiots. No, I'm sorry, you're idiots. Look, here's the deal. Another right-wing conspiracy is proven to be true. Hunter Biden falsified documents to get himself a gun. Now, you say that's not a big deal. I say that is a big deal. Hey, look, I don't need people lying on their gun application. I don't need crazy people. I don't need nutsos getting guns. Look, I want people that are responsible. I don't need crackheads getting guns, do you? I mean, look, I get it. Anything done by people has to be blamed on guns. 60 shot in Chicago. It isn't about the idiots running wild fatherless. It's about guns. No, it's not. It's about the idiots running around fatherless. It's about a system that doesn't put anything on us relative to consequence. All right? I'm just saying, we got to have consequence. So Hunter Biden decides that he's going to go get a gun. Hunter Biden decides that he's going to lie about it. You and I might actually get, I don't know, probation. We might have a problem. Does Hunter Biden? Oh, hell no. Because he is a member of the crime family known as the Bidens. Here is Clay Travis on it. After 4 years, Hunter Biden is pleading guilty to 3 total tax and gun charges. Will receive 0 jail time. We no longer have a justice system in this country. Democrats can do whatever they want and receive virtually no punishments. Republicans get draconian punishment. Hunter Biden, whose laptop the FBI has had for 4 years that provides clear evidence of dozens of felonies, will receive a fraction of the punishment that a grandma who walked in the Capitol on January 6th received. Look, anybody that debates that, you're out of your ever-loving mind. If you or I had gun charges, if you and I had tax charges on top of gun charges, if you and I had a laptop that said, here's the crimes that we have committed, and for some reason Hunter Biden loves, and I don't mean likes, I mean loves to document his stupidity, Well, I got to tell you, we'd be going to jail. We'd be going to jail for a long time. I'd be going to jail, and I want to make this perfectly clear, Clintons. I am not suicidal. Clay Travis is not suicidal. I think I can speak for Clay. None of us that I have met here on OutKick are suicidal. You always have to make that clear because none of us wants to go all Vince Foster. None of us wants to go, hey, wait a second here. Hold on. I don't want to end up on a park bench with a bullet through my head. And they say, oh, by the way, it's suicide. Yeah, no, I don't want it to be. Iron Man says, I am your alpha king. You're damn right I am. It's time we get back to men being men. Join the movement. My wife the other day was wearing a Dan Dakich 50 and over Fight Club shirt. I think we got to get the Dan Dakich 60 and older Fight Club shirts going. It's time we take back. It's time black, white, Hispanic, Serbian, Polish. I don't care. African American, everybody band together as men and take back our country. Dan, you may not be suicidal, but you certainly are crazy. I don't think I'm crazy. I, ladies and gentlemen, think I am smart. All right, you ready for it? I got a top five. Top five musicians, bands of all time in my world. In my world. Yours may be different. But we're going to hold on to that. I want to know who your top five are. There's two debates that I have relative to music. One is who could sell out anywhere across the world. That's one. Two is who are your top five musicians slash bands. The great Clay Travis joins us. Clay, the Nothing Burger, I don't like saying that, but I guess I'm gonna. The Nothing Burger came out of Hunter Biden today. You made the point, look, Democrats can get rid of it, get away with anything. Draconian, I believe, is the word you used about Republicans and the punishments they face. What are we doing here with Hunter Biden? Hello? Uh-oh. I can't hear nothing. Hello, hello? Hello, hello? What's that? Clay Travis is going to join us coming up here in a minute, but Hunter Biden, this is another right-wing conspiracy. Everything that the left doesn't like is a right-wing conspiracy, and it's to be discarded. Well, here's another one. 4 years later, Hunter Biden, the drunken crackhead, I don't think he's pedophilic, but I mean, look, having sex with your sister-in-law after your brother dies, I don't know if that's good stuff. Next thing you know, he is charged and pleads guilty to tax and gun charges. Do we have Clay yet? We don't have him? All right. Oh, he's not talking. Oh, all right. The world is amazing. Seriously. I mean, let me ask you a question. Let me just ask the YouTube chat a question. On the YouTube chat, if you were going to get a gun, would you lie on the application? I'm not saying, you wouldn't, but if they caught you lying on the application and then they had all kind of felonies on your laptop, don't you think sort of maybe your ass would be going to jail? Don't you think kind of maybe that you might have a serious problem other than just a slap on the wrist, other than just a little bit, other than just like, hey, we're going to plead this to nothing? Don't you think maybe, sort of, kind of, you would have a problem? I would. I think those of us that are on OutKick would have a serious problem. I think those of us that are on OutKick would be going, hey, wait a second. Yeah. We'd all be going to jail for it. We would all, and it's sick, and it's disgusting, and it's awful that that's not what's happening. It is. It's disgusting that this guy can get away with doing anything. This family can get away with anything. This family can sit there and lie. And look, I'm not even saying they're guilty. I'm not saying they're guilty. What I'm saying is this. So clearly Hunter Biden's guilty. But what I'm saying is this. I'm saying at least do to the Bidens what you've done to literally every other president in my lifetime that has had serious allegations thrown at them. Investigate them publicly. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying anybody's guilty. In fact, I took a tour of the Senate of the Capitol building, with Senator Todd Young. And Todd Young, I asked about this voter fraud stuff, and he said, look, Dan, the Trump people have put all kind of stuff in front of our desk, but there's no evidence. I would look at it if there's evidence. I'm not saying anybody's guilty except for Hunter Biden today. All I'm saying is I'm 60 years old. I have followed this stuff since Richard Nixon, true story. Since Richard Nixon, I followed Gerald Ford, I followed Carter, Reagan, all these guys. And every single time there have been serious allegations, there has been a very, very, very public investigation. Why not in this case? I see somebody's on. Is Clay on, or are we still having trouble? Why not in this case? Why aren't we seeing an investigation into bribes? Why aren't we seeing an investigation into Hunter Biden? Why aren't we seeing an investigation into Hunter Biden, the big guy, and Ukraine? The easy thing to do is to say what we are sending to Ukraine, our tax dollars, is payment back for all of the money that Hunter Biden got from Ukraine and funneled to his dad. That's the easy. That's the coincidence. But you know what? Sometimes the easy is right. Sometimes the easy is the most accurate. Sometimes the easy is the answer. When you deal with stupid people, and remember President Biden's famous words about President Obama's famous words about Joe Biden. Never underestimate the ability of Joe Biden to F things up, which is basically saying he's stupid, he's ill-prepared, he's sloppy, he's unorganized. Well, stupid, sloppy, and unorganized people do things the simplest way. Look, Ukraine, you funnel a bunch of cash to me. Personally, I'll funnel a bunch of cash to you for any problems you have. Oh, you got a war. Here comes cash. Problem with it, it's my cash. It's your cash. Shouldn't happen that way. And let's say that's not the way that it happened. The allegations are strong enough that it should at least be investigated publicly and in a bipartisan manner if we have a true government for the people, of the people, and all the other stuff that our Constitution says. Look, I'm just telling you, if he's innocent, God bless him. But there's enough smoke here that at least you got to check it out. Right or wrong, that's the way I see it. All right, I don't know what's going on. You guys got to have to tell me during break. I'd love to hear Clay's take on this. I see the phone is on here. Somebody's on. We'll come right back.
What were the executives thinking when they were doing this? And then, of course, after the fact, we had a video surface of a marketing executive saying that Bud Light wanted to move away from the fratty appearance of just college kids and men. And I mean, that almost made it worse. When you're behind closed doors, when you're talking to plant managers, when you're having meetings, when you're with the team, was there an acknowledgement of any of this, an acknowledgement of the situation, the boycott, and then the doubling down about moving away from the fratty image? What were those conversations like when all this started to kick off?
So everybody was upset, including management. So every brewery has a plant manager that answers to corporate. And there seems to be a separation there because what corporate's doing is not reflective of what even the plant managers want. And they themselves, we would have these meetings and nobody's happy about it. Everybody thinks it was a very bad idea, obviously. And the sales and everything shows that. So, they expressed the fact that they were shocked. Why would they do this? What were they thinking? Especially now, this is the worst. It's like the worst timing yet the best timing if a company were to try to change the way it operates from a corporate level. So that's just my opinion, and many of us are talking about that, like they planned it in a way, like a strategic destruction of Bud Light.
Okay, let's get into that because that's very interesting to me to hear. Now, we know that Anheuser-Busch has been bought by InBev, which owns a lot of brands, a lot of companies, has a lot under the umbrella. And that's when things kind of started to shift in a little bit more woke way. But you're telling me that you think that Bud Light knew this Dylan Mulvaney partnership was going to be a disaster, watched it become a disaster, and then almost sat back and let it happen?
We'll see if we can get Clay's situation figured out, but in the meantime, let's talk a little rock and roll, baby. Now, on the YouTube chat, they are debating certain things, and in my world, there is a couple things that we have always debated. One, who could sell out anywhere in the world? Taylor Swift comes to mind first and foremost. Like, the Stones could sell out damn near anywhere. A lot of different people. Maybe, I don't know, can Eminem? I don't know. Can Aerosmith? Probably not. I think Aerosmith's like playing a local county fair along with. But I got to give you also, who's your top 5 musicians? Who's the top 5 folks that you like listening to? And I got to tell you, I'm really curious to yours. Now, I go by different things. I was never the guy, never the guy that said, hey, man, rock and roll, I got to go see these. No, I was never that guy. I was too busy playing basketball. I'm sorry, I just was. And I never really cared. Like, if you're going to ask me my favorite song, Go All the Way by the Raspberries. Please go. My buddy, my high school baseball coach, Steve Homner, the late Steve Homner, my grade school baseball coach, he wrote the song Brandy. And he sold it to Looking Glass for $1,500. True story, which was a lot of money back in those days. And Looking Glass took it and ran with it and got it done. Steve was all over the Chicago music scene, writing and playing and singing. And Steve wrote this song, sold it. I've seen the original lyrics. People believe me, people don't believe me. Don't care. That's what he did. My top 5 go by this. Who did I buy an 8-track of? Yeah, I said it, 8-track. Well, my 5th is Confunction. That's right, Shake and Dance with Me for Funky People Play. I used to play that. I mean to tell you, they were originally called Project Soul. They're still going today. I'm just telling you, Mike Paulson, my friend from high school, turned me on to Confunction. So I bought the I bought the 8-track. Every morning, the year I sat out of school, I would put the 8-track in. And guess what? I would play Shake and Dance with Me. I played it every day, every morning. I love it. I still love it. In fact, I'll go on a Big Ten Network show, and they, ladies and gentlemen, will put in Shake and Dance with Me. Don't let your love grow cold. Fantastic. Electric Lady, I can't help you. If you don't know Confunction, I cannot help you. But Shake and Dance with Me, I did it no justice just now. I know I look like the dorky white boy, but I am not. Nobody is hipper than me. I understand I look like a thumb. Somebody said if you shave Ted Cruz's head, he would look like me. Good for Ted Cruz. Others have said, you look like Bill Murray sometimes. Hey, I don't care. All I know is this. Confunction was my jam. Confunction has always been my jam. Shake and Dance with Me made it to 5th on the pop charts. F-Fun made it to 1st, 1976. 77 was Shake and Dance with Me. If you get a chance, Put it on your Spotify. Shake and dance for funky people play. It is a great tune. It is not only a tune that you can groove to, you can have the sex to, you can dance to, you can chill to. I never smoke weed, but if I smoked weed, you could smoke weed to. You could drink beers to. You could put it on your pool party. You could put it at your graduation party. You could put it at your wedding. There is nothing that Shake and Dance with Me by Confunction can't be played to. I stand by Confunction. I stand by Confunction, and I dare you, ladies and gentlemen, to prove me wrong. You don't know Confunction because you're not a cool white boy. You aren't a CWB like me. I know Confunction. Period. Period. Yes, you too could sell out everywhere. When I was single, I wooed women by saying, I want to go to a U2 concert somewhere overseas. I don't give a rat's ass about U2. I don't even know but one U2 song. But I'll tell you this, U2 is no Confunction. Number 4, Journey. Not sure. You could put Journey in there. You could put Boston in there. You could put Aerosmith in there. You could put Zeppelin in there. I don't know, but I had to come up with a list. And here's the deal. I'm a freshman at Indiana University. I'm looking good. I'm done with practice. Actually, it wasn't practice. It was like a Friday workout, running and then a lifting session. I'm whooped. I go into Assembly Hall. You weren't supposed to be in there because Journey was setting up for a concert the next night. I go into Assembly Hall, and guess what? I just sit there. Well, Steve Perry, I think it's Steve Perry, and the boys come out. And they're doing one of those sound check rehearsals. So I sit in there by myself, and I listen to basically the entire concert of Journey. Seriously, I'm a freshman. I got pimples. My hair is flowing. The middle part is glorious. Women are hanging out all over me. But I don't care. I need a few moments. I sat there about, 50 rows back in Assembly Hall. The seats were on the floor. And I didn't bother nobody. A couple of the roadies came over. I had my Indiana basketball. I go, hey, man, I'm whooped. Hey, go ahead. They didn't know me. But Journey, ladies and gentlemen, look, you could put Led Zeppelin in there. I like Zeppelin. I'm not a Jethro Tull fan. There was a time when REO Speedwagon, had a bunch of hits when I was in high school. Boston's first album, one of the all-time great albums. I like Miracles by Fleetwood Mac. But hey, look, you're going to ask me? I'm going to give you Journey. I like Journey. I know, Brett, but if you don't know Confunction, I don't know you. Jackson 5, number 3. Again, a story. Love the cartoon. You know my story with the Jackson 5. My grandfather, the great John Wurzba, owned a bar. It was called the Caribou Lounge in Gary, Indiana. The Caribou Lounge was the only place in Gary, Indiana that had a stage and lights. And every Sunday, the Jackson 5 would rehearse in my grandfather's bar. My brother, my nephew, or my cousins and I would clean the bar on Sunday mornings. We would dig underneath, not every Sunday, but a lot of Sunday. We would clean under the cigarette machine. We would wash glasses. I was behind a bar when I was like 8, washing glasses, pulling taps. And the Jackson 5 would be practicing there occasionally. How cool is that? My mother and Catherine Jackson, my mother would walk me, I forget, it's called Glen Park Park or something. What the hell was the name of the park? It was across the street from our apartment on 35th. And Catherine would walk one of the girls. Maybe it was LaToya, whoever is old enough. There's a picture of the Jackson 5 signing their contract with Berry Gordy et al. In the back of my grandfather's bar. I've seen the picture. I think it was Berry Gordy. It was a contract. And next thing you know, I can't find the picture. I would love to have that picture. So the Jackson 5 have to be in my list. Maybe not your list. A, B, C. Let me know if Clay's ready. Easy as 1, 2, 3. And they could dance and they could sing. My brother was with, I think it was Randy or Jermaine, one of the older ones, at an opening for the Hard Rock in Gary. They started talking about my grandfather and Joe Jackson, their father, and how they used to fight all the time. Because Joe Jackson promised that he would pay my grandfather, never did. And he also promised he would do a show at my grandfather's bar. They never did. They got too big. I ain't mad at them. But anyway, Jackson 5. Number 2, best concert I've ever been to. I've been to some good concerts. I got to tell you, I love Toby Keith. Toby Keith was a great show. I saw this group, this guy, Kid Rock, with Kool and the Gang in New Jersey with Uncle Kracker as an opener, and it was sponsored by Harley Davidson and Jack Daniels. Now that's a show, and the show wasn't on the stage. The show, ladies and gentlemen, was in the freaking crowd because you had Kool and the Gang, you had Kid Rock, and all of their crowds, and, ladies and gentlemen, it was sponsored by a motorcycle, so you had the motorcycle crazies, and a whiskey, so you had the whiskey crazies, and Lee was looking hot. She brought the heels and the short shorts, and I'm sitting there going, homina, homina, homina. I didn't even want to go to the concert. I just wanted to stay back and stup. But we went to the show, and Kid Rock is a not good performer. He's an unbelievable performer. His show over here at Clips is ridiculous. You've never seen so many fat women giving the finger in your life. It is unbelievable, this show. If you get a chance, go see Kid Rock. It was 1989. My thoughts were short. My hair was long. That's an anthem to those of us that grew up in and around the Great Lakes. Lake Michigan on a Saturday night when...
Yeah, I can hear you guys fine.
When you're in high school is unbelievable. And my number one, Van Halen. Not freaking that guy. David Lee Roth, Van Halen. I'll get into it, but I got Clay. And when Clay is on, we must take it. Add your own, but those are my top 5. The great Clay Travis joins. What's going on? What do you think? Hunter Biden, he gets off easy in your thoughts?
Thoughts? I mean, this is complete evidence of the United States creating a two-tier justice system. If you are let me just put it in this context. The FBI had Hunter Biden's laptop for 4 years, almost. They got this laptop in December of 2019. I have gone through all of the Hunter Biden laptop, all right? There are dozens of felonies that are easily provable on that laptop. And ultimately, they end up giving Hunter Biden such a sweetheart, crazy, unjustifiable deal that he is going to be treated far better than a grandma who walks into the United States Capitol on January 6th. So we have a banana republic Department of Justice that has completely lost its way. It is broken. It is effectively the guard of the Democrat Party that will attack and attempt to put in prison the enemies of the Democrat Party for the rest of their lives and will protect the ruling elite and their family and offer them plea deals that no one else on the planet would ever be able to get. So I think this is just further evidence of how broken the FBI and the Department of Justice are, and the fact that they need to be particularly dismantled at the very top echelons of these departments. I think there are still a lot of hardworking FBI agents at lower levels who went into the FBI to try to catch bad guys, which, let's not forget, is the job of the FBI. And I think the entire Department of Justice, including the FBI, has been overtaken by political appointees who have no interest whatsoever in justice and are effectively acting as the bodyguards of the Democrat Party to protect them and take out all of their chief rivals.
This is the smartest guy Joe Biden knows, according to Joe Biden, Clay. And this was a right-wing conspiracy. This is yet another right-wing conspiracy proven true.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's look, anybody who actually took the time to look at the laptop has known since the New York Post broke this story in October of 2020 that the laptop was 100% real. And this is just, to me, yes, it confirms yet again that the laptop is real, that everybody who's arguing that it's made up, again, they're propagandists. And we have such a broken media and such a broken political universe right now that I think that we need leadership has never been worse, right? I do the biggest radio show in the country, and I am genuinely disappointed at the quality of leader that we have in this country today, right? And this is just a big picture issue. I think a big part of it is we are not represented by the best and the brightest in this country. I think a lot of the best and the brightest, frankly, look at what happens in politics. They say the money is not very substantial. You can make far more in, private business. OutKick employs people, a lot of people making more money than a Supreme Court justice would, right, to work at a sports media company. And I'm not taking a shot at our salaries. I think our people deserve it. But I think oftentimes you get the quality of what you pay for. And unless you are already independently wealthy and you have so much money, why would you ever leave a job where you're making millions of dollars a year to try to go to one where you make $150,000 a year? Particularly when the amount of penalty that can come from interjecting yourself into the national discourse exists. But I think what that results in is, man, a lot of our politicians are just not very smart and not very good at what they do, and they're poor leaders. And I think it's an unfortunate spot that we have put our country in. I talk to a lot of politicians, so I'm not, speaking out of hand here. I just, when you interview an athlete, you're not expecting for the athlete to be, the brightest bulb in the world, right? But when you interview a politician and they're not very smart, like, that has real consequences. And unfortunately, we got too many people like that. And then on the flip side, there are, I think, some very smart people who are involved in running the Department of Justice, and they have completely given up the goal of the Department of Justice, which is to provide justice in this country, regardless of favor, regardless of wealth. And they have made the decision that effectively they are the Praetorian Guard of the Democrat Party. And what is going on to Donald Trump when you're trying to put your political enemies in prison for the rest of their lives, and you are simultaneously protecting the son of the sitting president from any of the consequences of his much worse criminal behavior. Even if you assume that Trump is guilty of charges, which I'm not, but let's just say what you see on the laptop is far worse than anything that Trump has been accused of. So I think our justice system is fundamentally broken, and I think we have to have new leadership in order to redeem it in any way.
Are we from a Department of Justice standpoint, from a prosecutorial standpoint, is the Hunter Biden chapter closed, or does this open it a little bit for future looks into Hunter Biden? And I'm going to ask you a two-part question. I'm old, and I've been following politics since 1972 when I was 10 years old, and I remember exactly where I was when Richard Nixon resigned. And every single president, in my lifetime, going through Ford to Carter to Reagan and all, anytime there's serious allegations, there have been serious hearings about those allegations. Will we see serious hearings about Joe Biden and the allegations, whether he's innocent or guilty? Hey, at least open it up. And does this open the case, or does it shut the case against Hunter Biden?
Well, look, now Hunter Biden is admitting guilt. So to the extent that people ever argued that he was innocent, well, that's gone, right? The penalties that he's receiving for his admissions of guilt are indefensibly lenient. And I actually think this increases in the House of Representatives the degree to which the seriousness of these charges will be examined. That's one of the benefits of Republicans having control of the House, is they can set their own hearings. James Comer, I think, is doing a good job investigating what I think is legitimately characterized as the Biden crime family when it comes to the millions of dollars that Hunter Biden received from Ukrainian and Chinese interests to advocate for those policies, some of which may well have gone to his father. So I think this is going to increase the anger that exists out there. This also removes any suggestion that, oh, well, the FBI is investigating this, so we can't cooperate. And I'm genuinely curious, like, if we had an honest media, right? If we had a truly honest media, then people on the left in this country who have been arguing for the importance of prosecuting the tax crimes of the wealthy and of holding people accountable for gun violations, if we had a truly impartial or even just somewhat honest media, even on the left, at CNN, at MSNBC, at ABC, at NBC, at CBS, they would be bringing on experts in criminal defense law and the Justice Department to decry the privileged treatment that Hunter Biden has received here. I don't have a great deal of respect for our media, certainly, which I think is also filled with colossal lightweights and dishonest idiots. So I question whether there will be any actual discussion of a significant degree from the propagandists on the left wing in this country who basically defend anything that the Biden administration is involved in and refuse to basically call balls and strikes and be even an impartial observers of what's going on in the country today. But I think it's impossible to look at, for instance, what's going on with thousands of people being prosecuted to the full extent of the law for walking into the United States Capitol on January 6th. And the president's son gets away with not paying millions of dollars in taxes, with potentially laundering millions of dollars in improper payments that occurred from foreign interests, as well as, again, a gun violation. We hear all the time about Joe Biden. Heck, he had a speech this week, I believe, talking about the need to have more and stricter gun laws. And his son now is pleading guilty to a gun offense, which is, essentially a slap on the wrist. So there should be, this is a ripe and easily fertile field to analyze the hypocrisy that is at play here for the rich, the powerful, the well-connected, as opposed to the regular guy or girl out there in this country who would never be able to get a deal like this, and in fact would probably be shackled and in prison for what Hunter Biden has done. If you actually care about being impartial and telling the truth as a member of the media, this should be one of the most prominent examples of this disparate treatment that has ever existed in modern American history. You should go after it with all of your voice. But the reality is, I think that we have such a propagandist media now that I hope I'm wrong, but I think almost no one at CNN, MSNBC, ABC, NBC, CBS, any New York Times, Washington Post, any of those major legacy left-wing media outlets will even utter a word of dissent relating to the sweetheart deal that Hunter Biden is getting in our kangaroo courts and our truly unfair Justice Department.
Hey, while I have you, I read this, and Trump's trial is being sped up. Like August 8th is the first date. You're an attorney. Is this rare? Is this odd? What's the deal here?
I don't think that look, the judge comes out. I think Eileen Cannon is the federal district court judge in the Southern District of Florida there. And she has set an aggressive schedule that I would imagine will never come to fruition. Now, the defendant is entitled under our existing legal rubric to a rapid, speedy trial, right? So if Donald Trump and his defense attorneys decided that they wanted to fast track this case because in some way they were seeking vindication or believed that there was a possibility that maybe they'll get a not guilty verdict or a hung jury, and that would create a major mess for Jack Smith and his investigations on a federal level going forward. They could accede to this and fast track the case. I would be stunned beyond belief if this case in Miami occurs in 2023. So much less August of 2023 in 60 days, basically. I would be stunned beyond belief if this case happens in 2023. And actually, again, I don't have full on, certainly sort of full view of what's going on with Trump's criminal defense in this particular case. So let me be clear about that. But in general, most defendants want to push the trial date as far back as they possibly can to allow for them to put forward the best defense possible. In this particular case, given that we have primary season starting in January, it's likely that there will be a nominee selected by March. I can't imagine that Donald Trump would want a trial before the primary season is decided. And I would be surprised if he wants a trial before the election is decided, because if he's a nominee, he's going to pardon himself. And none of these federal charges are going to amount to anything. So again, I don't have optics on the internal debate, discussion, and analysis of his defense team. And in fact, I think Trump is still in the process of actually selecting his defense team. But given where most of these criminal cases go, I would be stunned if this case starts in August.
Will Biden be the Democratic nominee?
That is the question that I think is motivating most discussion on the Democrat side right now. There is a world where the Department of Justice came to Joe Biden and said, as a consequence of this incredibly unfair, basically rigged result that we're giving your son, we want you to announce that you are no longer running. It's also possible that the Democrats are going to look at Joe Biden, and this thing is actually going to echo through to independents, and it's going to resonate in a big way, and I would imagine would be a huge part of the 2024 presidential campaign in general, because remember, Hunter Biden is now pled guilty to felonies. And Joe Biden said that his son had done nothing wrong, and now he has to go back and explain why, if his son did nothing wrong, he has pled guilty to these charges, and why these ongoing investigations are not now then legitimate since his son has acknowledged that he is a criminal. It's possible that Joe Biden is going to make the decision to basically go Lyndon Johnson 1968. If people remember their history, Lyndon Johnson was eligible to run in 68, made the decision that he was not going to accept the nomination or chase it, and that he would not run in 1968. So I still think, and I've been arguing and discussing this on the radio show for some time, I still think it's possible that Joe Biden, given his age and given his diminished standing in the Democrat Party and the lack of support and excitement that surrounds his candidacy, that he announces that his own choice is that he will not run, and we get a fully contested Democrat primary. Here's the challenge with that. I'm not sure that Democrats think they have a candidate who is more likely to win than Joe Biden. So if the goal is to win the presidency, they've already shown, the Democrats have, that they will drag John Fetterman across the finish line in Pennsylvania, even though he can't speak. And they've got Dianne Feinstein, who is sitting at 89 years old, even in worse shape than John Fetterman. Democrats have demonstrated that they don't care about health, cognition, or ability to do the job. All they care about is power. Biden is in many ways a Trojan horse president who allows the left to enact their agenda without any opposition from a man whose brain, I believe, does not work at a high enough level to be president of the United States. I think most Americans agree with me on that, regardless of party. But he still may be more likely to win than anybody else the Democrats could put forward, which is why ultimately, if power is the goal, Biden's own cognition and even the criminal behavior of his family doesn't matter so long as Democrats think it makes it more likely they're going to win.
Clay, I appreciate you taking some time with us. I really do. Thanks for your perspective on this, my friend. Thanks.
No worries. Keep rolling. Keep up the good work, my man. I'll see you.
All right. That's the great Clay Travis. You can hear him on the nation's largest radio show across the country. Why do the American people put up with this? Like, can anybody explain this to me? Like, why do you put up with this? Why do we just say, it's all right. Yeah, it's good. I mean, I understand if it was like some rock star president, but this is a dude that has no cognitive skills. He's a moron. He's a lifetime politician. I'll never understand it, but I got to go. Nick and Dylan and Ryan and everybody involved. What a show today. Thanks all of you on the YouTube chat. We exploded on a Tuesday. Thank you. Come back tomorrow and see us. We'll be right here, 9 to 11.